Welcome to the Explainer. Let's jump right into this. Right now, literally as you are watching this, there is an invisible, completely silent force wrapping around our entire planet. It is working tirelessly every single second to protect you, me, and well, every living thing on Earth from some seriously violent deep space dangers that are lurking just beyond our atmosphere. But it raises a really wild question. What happens if that shield just disappears?
So let's play out this thought experiment. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning to a breaking news alert. Earth's magnetic field has suddenly completely vanished. You look outside, and the weather seems perfectly fine. You can't see the missing field, you can't touch it, and you definitely can't hear it. At first glance, the world seems exactly the same as it did when you went to bed. People are commuting, kids are heading to school. But up above us, the clock is ticking. The reality is, our entire modern way of life is about to face an unprecedented global crisis.
The truly terrifying part is just how incredibly fast everything would unravel. We're talking a massive timeline of collapse. In the very first few hours, while people are still grabbing their morning coffee, orbital satellites would start experiencing catastrophic failures. Then, within just a couple of days, that chaos trickles down to the surface, and massive power grids begin collapsing under the strain. Give it a few weeks, the global supply chains that keep our supermarket shelves stocked and our economies running just grind to a total halt. It's a rapid domino effect, literally stripping away our modern conveniences one by one.
Now, to understand why it all falls apart so quickly, we have to look at the actual trigger for the disaster, the solar wind. See, our sun isn't just sending us warm, comforting light. It's constantly firing streams of dangerous, highly energized charged particles straight at Earth. Normally, our magnetic shield catches and deflects the solar wind. It's kind of like a giant, invisible umbrella deflecting a torrential downpour. But without that umbrella, those charged particles start striking our upper atmosphere directly. And for our orbital tech, the consequences are instantaneous.
Literally within hours, that initial wave of solar radiation makes the situation up there completely critical. Astronauts aboard space stations would be forced into immediate emergency evacuations because of life-threatening radiation spikes. Meanwhile, the satellites we rely on every single day, they just start failing. The networks providing our internet, television, military comms, they all collapse. GPS navigation systems, which guide everything from the map app on your phone to massive cargo ships, completely die out. Even airplanes flying polar routes would suddenly lose their communication systems, forcing pilots into blind emergency detours. It is just total, silent chaos in orbit. But you know, that silent destruction up in space? Yeah, it doesn't stay quiet for long. Eventually, the effects of the vanished shield hit the surface, and that is when things get very loud and very chaotic for all of us down here. As the grid goes dark, we transition from a high-tech space disaster to a fundamental survival crisis right here on the ground.
Here is exactly how the dominoes fall on Earth. First, powerful geomagnetic storms, which are no longer held back by our shield, just slam into the surface. Second, these immense magnetic fluctuations cause electrical transformers on our power grids to rapidly overheat and blow. Third, massive rolling blackouts spread across entire continents. Almost instantly, major cities lose electricity, hospitals are forced onto emergency generators, and cell networks go totally dead. Finally, financial markets and modern civilization effectively halt because digital transactions become completely unreliable. Panic sets in because our technology is suddenly under direct attack from space, and we realize this is not just your average power outage. But believe it or not, losing power is just the opening act. If we zoom out and look at the centuries-long existential threat, it gets even darker. Compare Earth today with our nice, thick, protective atmosphere to Mars billions of years ago. Scientists actually believe Mars used to look a lot like Earth. It had a stronger atmosphere, even liquid water, but Mars lost its magnetic field. Without it, the solar wind slowly, relentlessly stripped away its atmospheric particles, just blowing them out into deep space over millions of years. Without our shield, Earth's upper atmosphere would be fully exposed, and we could gradually face that exact same barren, desolate fate.
And hey, it's not just human technology and our atmosphere taking a hit. The natural world would basically be operating with a broken compass. Countless species completely rely on Earth's magnetic field for navigation. Without it, migrating birds suddenly lose the flight routes they've used for generations. Sea turtles crossing vast oceans would struggle to find their specific nesting beaches. Marine creatures, insects, they'd all become completely disoriented. We'd see major, unprecedented disruptions to ecosystems all over the globe simply because their built-in GPS just completely vanished.
While the animals are struggling with navigation, humanity would be facing a much more direct, invisible threat of our own: radiation. Even though our atmosphere would initially still block a good chunk of the solar wind, the sheer amount of radiation reaching the surface would raise long-term health risks dramatically. We're talking airline crews, people living at higher altitudes, not to mention sensitive medical and scientific equipment, all facing totally unprecedented levels of radiation exposure.
Which brings us to humanity's absolute frantic scramble to survive this bizarre new environment. To adapt, governments and scientists would have to work around the clock. We would see incredible sci-fi level proposals for giant artificial magnetic shields built up in space. We'd need advanced, localized shields just to protect major cities and critical infrastructure. We might even see society heavily relocating to underground facilities, all while engineers are rushing to completely redesign our satellites with incredibly heavy shielding. Surviving this would be wildly expensive, incredibly complicated, and require a level of international cooperation unlike anything in human history.
Okay, let's take a collective breath here. Looking at all this chaos, the failing grids, the disoriented wildlife, the massive radiation spikes, it begs the ultimate question, the one I know is probably in the back of your mind right now. Could this actually happen tomorrow? Like, should we be packing our bags and looking for underground bunkers tonight?
The answer is a definitive, massive, resounding no. Seriously, you can completely relax.
To understand why you can sleep soundly tonight, you just have to look at how Earth's real engine actually works. Our magnetic field isn't magic. It's generated by the constant churning movement of molten iron deep down in Earth's outer core. This continuous flow of liquid metal acts like a massive planetary dynamo, generating the field that stretches way out into space. Now, does this field change? Absolutely. It can weaken, it shifts, and over thousands and thousands of years, the polarity can even completely reverse. But because it's tied to the immense physical mass of our planet's deep core, a sudden complete disappearance overnight is scientifically, practically impossible.
So why even talk about this apocalyptic scenario, right? Well, because studying these extremes reveals just how miraculous our reality actually is, and how dependent we are on these invisible natural systems that we almost never think about. There's a great quote from our source material that hits the nail on the head. The Earth's magnetic field may be invisible, but it is one of the most important reasons life can thrive on this remarkable world we call home. So the next time you pull up a map on your phone, check the weather, or just look up at the night sky, I want you to remember that massive silent protector working right above your head. We literally owe our modern lives and our very existence to it. So what other invisible forces are shaping our world right now without us even knowing? Keep wondering, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.